We recently completed our first sailing on the Disney Dream, sailing to Hamburg, Germany, and Zeebrugge, Belgium. And we were really surprised how different this cruise was to previous Disney cruises that we have taken in the past. Hello everyone, my name is Josh. Welcome to Travel with Josh and Taylor. We are a childless dog couple who enjoy seeing new destinations and stepping outside of our backyard. This was our 25th cruise, but our 9th Disney cruise. So if you have more questions about cruising or with Disney, or just general things about travel and cruising, make sure to drop them down in the comments below. We can answer those, or maybe even make a future video about some of those questions. Let us help you with your next cruise. It doesn't cost you anything extra. You can head on over to goldgellgetaways.com to start planning today. Or if you would like to work one-on-one with Taylor in planning your next cruise, you can email her at taylor@goldgellgetaways.com, or you can find it in the description down below. This 7-night itinerary was a round-trip sailing from Southampton, England from September 1st, 2024 to September 8th, 2024. This was our first time embarking from Southampton, but not our first time at the cruise port itself. We were just here a few weeks before when we finished our 4th group cruise. We sailed from Iceland through northwestern Europe and finished in Southampton. And you can check out that playlist like right here or down in the description. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time. But if you're interested maybe in joining us for our next group adventure, you can email me, josh@goldgellgetaways.com. We're going to be going to Hawaii in 2025. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It always is. You can also fill out a form that is down in the description below. Getting to the port can be somewhat of a challenge, especially if it's your first cruise or it's your first time outside of the US. You do have a few options you can choose from, first being Disney transfers. These were going to be about $75 per person per way. That is expensive. But if you prefer to not use Disney, you can do all of the regular transports like rent a car, take a train, or even go by bus. For us, we chose to use National Express bus service from London Heathrow to Southampton. Now, the city of Southampton is relatively easy to walk, and the round trip tickets for us cost less than $75 total. So the price that it cost for Disney for one person to go one way, we had round trip transportation from London Heathrow to Southampton and back to London Heathrow after the cruise, all for $75, or actually a little less than that. The bus station is about a 15-minute walk to the port, and the footpaths can be unstable with luggage, so just be aware and allow yourself a little extra time, and don't forget about the weather. It didn't really affect us on the way there, like once we got to Southampton, but when we left the cruise and we're going to get on the bus, we just got so lucky that we just missed a lot of rain that came through. So there were a lot of people who were waiting and they did get a little wet. Checking in for the Disney Dream is a pretty standard process. And if you've done it once, you've done it basically everywhere you would go. It's really all the same. You're going to drop your luggage off outside with the porters and then head on inside to do a physical check-in, proceed through security, and then make your way onto the ship. And it is really important to know that if you can, do all of your stuff online beforehand. It's just going to speed this process up and make it a lot easier. So the whole process was pretty smooth, and we were, I think, on board the ship by about 12:30. We also like to take the time on the first day to explore the ship, and we recommend that you do the same thing as well once you get on board. It's the best time to really get to know where everything on the ship is actually at. Now, I see a lot of this, people both here in our comments and clients that are tailors who will tend to have higher stress levels on embarkation day because like it is a lot going on and you want to be on the ship and you just want to be able to relax. But, you know, and it is justified up to when you get to the port. Like when you're at the port and you can see the ship, it's time to just totally relax. You know, as long as you've got all of your documentation, like your passport or any other required documents that you need to have, it's time to stop what you're doing and take a deep breath and just relax, because you're about to get on the ship and you're about to have a really great, relaxing and fun 7-night vacation. So just take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. So just remember, if you can see the ship, it's not going anywhere and you have plenty of time to get on it. And remember, you're going on a Disney cruise, so just get ready for all of the fun magic that you're going to have. This cruise was our first time sailing with an ocean view room. Well, actually, it was our second time. Our first time was on Margaritaville at Sea, and I encourage you to go watch those. If you're interested in cruising on a budget, it might surprise you. You can have a lot of fun. We were really excited to try out a large porthole cabin on the Dream. It's less expensive than having a balcony, but with it being so large, it still offers a lot of really great natural light into the room. And I certainly missed having a balcony or having that opportunity to drink coffee out on the balcony in the mornings. But overall, I would definitely get another large porthole room like this again. It just really adds, like, that light coming in really makes a big difference. What we love about Disney Cruise cabins are the split bathrooms. It's great to have the functionality to do your business and someone else can take a shower or get ready for dinner. And I can tell you this, once you cruise with split bathrooms, you'll be wanting to have that on every ship. But guess what? Not many of them have them. So Disney is kind of that exception, and it does make that experience in the rooms, in the cabins, just that much better. Make sure that you bring a European adapter with you. We always bring at least 2, and you can pick them up on Amazon. They're relatively cheap. We have a link in the description of this video, which we do make a little bit of commission off of, but it does help support us. It's better than having one of those big kind of USB hubs, in my opinion. And take it from me, 2 of these is all that you're going to need. I have to charge multiple devices and batteries from my GoPro to my A1, the laptop, phones, and our watches. And these adapters are really all you're going to need. You'll find plenty of space in the room for all of your things, regardless of the ship that you're on. Even though that this is about the Dream, we have been on the Magic and the Fantasy and also the Wish. And really, the space for you to have all of your stuff doesn't necessarily change that much as far as, having the space to hang your clothes up or put them in a drawer or hide stuff underneath the bed. Really, they're going to be pretty much kind of the same as far as the storage space goes. Disney's no exception at having a lot of space. There's actually so much space, I feel like you could probably be on that ship for about 30 days and it'd be enough. It'd be good. Now, one of the best parts of sailing on Disney Cruise is the in-room entertainment. So you have a huge selection of original Disney titles and others from Pixar, Marvel, National Geographic, and a lot more. And if you're looking to just have a relaxed day of just sitting in the room, you can pick a Disney movie and order some room service, which, did I mention is included? It is. You can just pick up the phone, order what you want, and get ready to sit back, relax, and in the comfort of your room, have some really great food and watch some great stuff. Now, one thing that I would like to see change when the Dream and the other Legacy ships go into dry dock is the in-room lighting. It's very yellow and it's not very bright. The rooms on the Wish, which we were just on back in May, will probably most likely be what they'll have on the Treasure, or white lights. They just felt brighter, it felt more illuminated, it felt a little bit more inviting. So hopefully that'll change soon, but again, not a huge deal. What we have really loved about Disney Cruises, and specifically the Fantasy and the Dream class ships, are the public spaces for adults. And obviously this is a Disney Cruise, and we expect to see kids running around about and just being children. Like, don't come after me, bro. That's what we know. We know it's Disney, right? But after 9 o'clock, it's adult time. And what's really great about the Dream, in our opinion, is how the adult-only lounges are situated at the back of the ship. And I mentioned this in our Wish review, that the new layout of the ships wasn't ideal for the adult game shows and activities. Games like Match Your Mate, which can be, let's be honest, quite suggestive. Even though it was late, the kids would still come up and into the room, and then we would have to pause the show because you can't have kids in there while they're doing the show. So because of the lounges and how they're situated together on the Disney Dream, it just makes it kind of difficult for the kids to kind of wander their way all the way into the back. And so there really aren't ever any interruptions in the shows, and it makes it just a little bit more seamless. I want to say this again, we don't have any problem with kids being on the ship. It's Disney. We know that they're going to be there. It's just after a certain time, it's the adult time. And we know that there's plenty of other parents who agree with us that, they just want to be able to relax and not have to worry about those things back in the lounges. Now, the theming on the Dream is different than that of the Fantasy, even though they're sister ships. On the Dream, it's called the District, which contains 5 theme bars and lounges. You've got the District Lounge, the Pink Champagne Bar, Pub 687, the Skyline Bar, and Evolution, a clubbed area where a lot of the adult-only shows take place. We did do a wine tasting in the Pink Champagne Lounge. It was great, albeit a little bit difficult to hear the sommelier talking about all of the wines and the details that go into that, mostly because he didn't have a microphone. And we did have a few rowdy other cruisers who had just come from another little beverage seminar. But it was all in all really great. I mean, we did enjoy it. It was easy to book on the app, but a little frustrating because once we arrived, they said that we weren't actually on the list and weren't guaranteed a spot since we booked it on the ship. So it's a little weird, and it was odd, but we were still able to do it. And I would suggest that if you book anything while on the ship, then just know that it's not technically guaranteed, even if showing up as if you have paid to do it already. It's kind of weird how they operate. Yeah. We still got to do it, so it was good. We spent a lot of time in the lounges on the ship to do a lot of trivia, and only a few times did we have like difficulty finding a place to sit. It does fill up quickly, so if you do arrive only a few minutes before the trivia is going to start, you can still participate, but just know that you're probably going to have to stand. And it's not like they don't care if you're standing in there. They want everybody to participate, but just know that you probably won't have a seat if you show up last minute. Character meet and greets are probably the biggest draw to sailing with Disney. And let's face it, you have minimal waits, you're standing in the AC, and the characters rotate often. So it's really easy to meet them all during the length of your cruise. Now, what we did not anticipate though, were the people on board. With this cruise sailing out of the UK, it was full of Brits who were, in my opinion, really there to see the characters, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but it seemed to make the lines just that much longer than what we have experienced in the past, typically doing sailings in the Caribbean. So just remember to plan accordingly. If you do have activities, something that you've booked in advance, or maybe there's another activity that's going on later, just be aware that you may have to wait a little bit longer in some of those lines to meet some of your favorite characters. Usually every character will have a photographer with them unless they're a character who is free roaming. Which just means that they are moving around the ship. They're not standing in one place. They're just trying to, maneuver, get around. And occasionally when you see them, they're not going to necessarily like stop for a bunch of photos. You're going to have to kind of follow them around and just grab a selfie real quick. They should have like a character handler or a friend with them who will take some photos for you with your phone or your camera. But just be prepared that most of the time, these are going to be selfie opportunities. And when it comes to actually meeting the characters in their standard locations where they're in one place and they're not moving, the photographers will not actually take any photos with your camera or your phone. So hopefully they should have a handler with them, which normally they do, or a friend, and they'll have to take those photos for you. And it's not like a big deal. I think Disney's really kind of changed the way that they've done their photography over the years, and it's become a lot better. But just be aware that, somebody else is going to have to take those photos that you want taken on your phone. And speaking of photos, I don't know if you guys know this, but we do weddings and event photography. We've captured dozens of precious moments for so many people in Disney and on Disney Cruise Line. And if you or someone you know is getting married, we would love to be a part of their special day. You can reach out to us by using the link below or head on over to our website, jtr.media. Before you're sailing, you can pre-book a bunch of activities on the app, and I kind of already touched on this. But unlike other cruise lines, you don't actually have to pay for any of those until you're on board. And sometimes until you've actually gone to the activity itself. We personally do not like this. It ends up leading to a lot of people who will just sweep up tons of reservations and then start dropping them once they get on board or something else. And it's just really frustrating, and it leads to the confusion that we had when we tried to go to that wine tasting earlier. So just be aware that while you may not be able to book something before the cruise, you might be able to pick it up once the cruise is actually started. So just keep checking the app. You go to guest services or another like dining team or something like that. Depending on what the activity is, it probably will still be available. Disney is well known for their Broadway-style theater shows on all of their ships. With that, they recruit the top talent for other shows as well, like magic and bands and other things that they just might have going on, other acts. Now, we got to see Beauty and the Beast. This debuted back in 2017, but it's the first time that we got to see it because they didn't have it on the other ships that we've been on. And it was great to see. It's something different, and it's classic. It's really great. And the show did not miss a beat. On the Disney Dream, you can also see the Golden Mickeys. It's a fun award-style show that features many of the hit Disney tunes. We did skip this one, but we definitely did not skip an original Broadway-style Disney show, which is called Disney's Belief. And it's one of their signature shows. It's on I think, almost all of their ships. And it's really great. It's definitely one that you do not want to miss if you have the opportunity to see it. Now, on this sailing, they did have a magician who was good, but we have seen, I'll be honest, some better ones on past Disney cruises. But what I think is really great, though, about Disney and their other acts that they have come on is that typically they will do a family-friendly show in the Walt Disney Theater. And then later on, not usually the same night, it's usually maybe the next night or later on, they're going to have a more adult kind of show, usually in the adult-only lounge. So it's really great, and it's a lot of fun, and it just kind of helps to keep things a little bit fresh and moving along throughout the week. Now, aside from what you can go see in the Walt Disney Theater, you'll also be able to watch first-run movies on the ship in the cinemas. And on this sailing, believe it or not, we could watch an R-rated movie. That was Deadpool & Wolverine, which I was shocked that they were playing this on the cruise, but it was on there to watch, and it was super, super late at night. Like, we're talking, I think, like 11 or midnight. So they were trying to do it, I think, responsibly as far as showing an R-rated movie. Now, they'll also have numerous other musicians around the ship who will perform in the main atrium or in the lounges, and we love to just sit and kind of listen to those tunes that are being played, especially on the piano, and normally kind of like in the adult-only areas, because it just tends to be a little quieter and a lot less hustle and bustle, especially with character meet and greets going on. Now, in all other cruises that we've been on, in our opinion, Disney has some of the best entertainment on board, both for kids and adults, and I don't say that lightly. I mean, we've been on 25 different cruises, and Disney really knows how to, like, beat everybody else. Service on Disney is honestly unmatched in our opinion when compared to other brands marketing to that of families. And remember, I just said families. I didn't say everybody, but specifically families. And each cast member is always, there with a smile on their face, eager to help you if you have a question or maybe you're lost, looking for something, whatever. Now, we didn't interact with a lot of the staff, specifically at the pool, because we didn't really spend any time at the pool, but in the few instances that we did around in Meridian Lounge or in some of the other places in the adult-only areas, they were really great and positive, and were always there and trying to be as helpful as possible. And the staff in the Champagne Bar were also great and eager to help us with any questions that we had. I think a prime example, I think I was really frustrated when we went in to try and do the wine tasting, and they basically told us that we had to wait. It was super frustrating, but they handled it really well. They were very apologetic, but we still got to do it, and they tried to make sure that we were able to still do it because we were looking forward to it, and they did a great job. We also never go looking to try and see if we can trip up cast members or staff with like weird requests or odd questions in an attempt to get a reaction, like we have seen some other creators that we know have done before. So, they're cast members, and it's Disney, and, they want to do their very best, and they want to try and provide you with a really great experience. And sometimes I think we can all admit we've seen some pretty irate people with cast members. So just keep in mind, they're trying to do the best that they can, and they have certain protocols that they have to follow. So, is what it is sometimes, but always try to have a smile on your face, and just remember, you're on a Disney cruise. So try to relax and just have some fun. And a lot of the service plays into dining on board as well, which is what we'll talk about next. Disney is still the only cruise line to do rotational dining, and this means that each night of your cruise, you will rotate to a different restaurant. And it may sound confusing, but it really is pretty simple and straightforward. Before the pandemic, your rotation would be listed on your ship card. But now, you can see everything on the app, which is sometimes not always the greatest, but it does help. I think, in my opinion, the app is a huge tool for everybody on board. And that's where you're going to see your dining schedule and how the rotation goes. The other unique aspect is that your dining team will actually rotate with you each and every night. Disney also uses traditional dining times. This means that half of the ship is going to be eating early, so typically it's around like 6 o'clock, and then the other half of the ship, which is on the second seating, will be later around like 8:30. We really enjoyed this style. It's refreshing to be in a new place each night. In addition to all of this, some of the restaurants will also have entertainment as well. So this will vary from ship to ship, but on the Dream, you'll have Animator's Palette, which has a show with Nemo and Friends the first night, and then the second night, you'll get to create your own animations and watch it come to life. And it's a lot of fun. It is really cool. Even as an adult, when you get to draw your own animation and then watch it come to life, it is really cool. It's always important to us to say that if there are any issues with your dining team, to let them know or speak to the head server so you can get those worked out that first or second night. Disney really wants you to have an awesome and excellent experience. So, you know, if something's going on, maybe like it's not fast enough or maybe it's too slow or whatever, just let them know. Like, they are there to try and make the experience as great as they possibly can for you. Now, I think the one complaint that we have with Disney is that they haven't really changed their menu up in about 10 years. So for someone who has sailed a lot with a lot of different restaurants and different ships and cruise lines, it does kind of become very predictable. I don't want to say like mediocre, but it's just, we know what to expect. It's not really a surprise. Now, maybe for a lot of people out there watching, you may say that you love that about Disney, that it's safe and that it is very predictable. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that's probably why Disney really hasn't changed their menu in so long. But for us, we like to see some variety and we like to see change. And so we don't really get that on Disney. Food quality was still great and was what could be expected with the name Disney. But I do just want to make sure everybody heard me. I did say that the food was still really great. The quality was good and was to be expected. Somebody's going to say that I'm trashing Disney about food. I'm not. It is good. The only thing is just we would like to see an updated menu. That's all. What did surprise us was the buffet. Each day for lunch, you could find some well-known comfort dishes, but also find some things that you're not so familiar with. And I love that. I love trying something new. Even if it looks gross or weird, I'll try it. It's the buffet. If you don't like it, people, just don't eat it. Go back up and get something else that you know, like maybe a hot dog or chicken fingers or a burger or lasagna or some type of pasta, you know. But the buffet, for me, that's the place for you to try something new and expand something for your palate. You never know. You never know. Now, this is at Cabanas, you know, it's the buffet. So, you know, just keep that in mind. They are making everything as quickly as they can for loads and loads of people. So sometimes quality of things isn't always necessarily going to be the greatest. But again, it's the buffet. So if you get something that you don't like, you know, just go up and get something else. Now, breakfast, though, was pretty much the same throughout the length of the cruise. It really did not change as far as the food options go. What I will say I thought was really interesting, and I think I mentioned this in one of our vlog videos, maybe because this was out of the UK, they didn't actually have American bacon. They had what we would call Canadian bacon, which was more of like kind of like the ham and not necessarily like what they called streaky bacon, which is American bacon. So other than that, though, like pretty much everything is still the same. You can get made to order eggs. Mickey waffles were fantastic. They had pancakes. So that I just thought that was really interesting. But again, it's the buffet. Now, unlike most other cruise lines, Disney will actually close their buffet after lunch and it will not reopen until breakfast the next day. So just keep that in mind, that if you skip going to the dining room, which is again is included, you won't have another option to go to other than the quick service locations up on the pool deck. And I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but in some cases, I actually find the buffet for lunch to be much better than dinner. And again, that's because I like having that variety. I like trying new things. And let me explicitly state this again. The quality of food on Disney is still top-notch. It's really great. Whether you're at the buffet or you're at the dining room, it is still going to be really good. On the Disney Dream, there is a quick service location. It is located on the pool deck and it serves pizza, hot dogs, something like chicken fingers, but they weren't really like chicken fingers, burgers, wraps, French fries, small salads. I'm sure I'm missing something else on there, but essentially this is your quick service, open basically all day long into the late hours of the night. And it's going to be the place where if you miss dining for dinner, this is going to be your option, or you're going to have to get room service. Now, who says Disney Cruise Line is only for families is missing out on some great food at the adult-only restaurants? Like I said, Taylor and I, we are childless dog parents. So we still like to go to Disney. We still have a great time on the ships, and we still like to have kind of our own little date night. And you get that with the adult-only restaurants. Now, today, we have tried all of the adult-only restaurants that Disney Cruise Line offers. That's Palo, Remy, and Enchanté. Now, these aren't all on every single ship, but all 4 legacy ships have a Palo and Remy. Wish has Palo and Enchanté. So you don't necessarily have to be on every ship to try all of the restaurants. Again, what's kind of great is that the menus are all the same, so the food is going to be consistently the same no matter what ship that you're on. This is a really great option if you're looking to just have a date night, get away from the kids, or you're a couple like us and you just want to have kind of like that intimate setting. Palo or Remy is going to be a really great option for you. And I'm not going to talk like too much about those. If you want to see more of what those restaurants are like, I'd encourage you to go and watch our dining review playlists from the Disney ships, where you can watch Palo for brunch, Palo for dinner, Remy for dinner, and Enchanté. This is kind of unique a little bit to Disney because not a lot of other cruise lines do this really. But on Disney, you may not know this, but they include fountain beverages. So that means that if you want a Coca-Cola or a root beer or something, you can go get that and it's included. But the catch is that it's only included in a couple of places, and that's at the self-service locations, at the pool deck, and inside of cabanas, the buffet. A little warning though, is that if you are going to go to trivia or some other type of fun thing going on at one of the lounges, and you ask for a soda, you're actually going to be charged for that. So the only place where it's actually included is at these self-service locations. So keep that in mind. All right, y'all, we are coming to the end of this video, which I've saved for the best part, which is value. And this is probably going to be the most controversial part of this video, which is why I have saved it for last. But if you've made it this long, you've made it this far, all I ask is that you hear me out to the end. All right, this was our 9th Disney cruise. I know I've said that multiple times. I don't mean to say that as like, you know, woohoo. I mean to say that more as like, you know, we've done this 9 times because we enjoy it. We don't come on Disney Cruise Line because we don't like it. Obviously, Disney has a lot of really great things to offer, and that's why we continue to come back. I think we can confidently say that we just really love Disney and we'll continue to sail Disney in the future. But I did not enjoy this cruise as much as our previous sailings, and let me explain why. Cruising is different for everyone. And how you choose to spend your money is different than how we like to spend our money. I mean, that's just how people are, right? When we leave the US and we cruise to new ports, our goal is to spend as little time as possible on the ship and every second that we can out in the ports. And that means that we are okay with doing a cheaper sailing on an older ship if it means that we can spend a lot more time in the ports. And for me, when it comes to Disney cruises, I want to relax on the ship by the pool. I want to lounge in Cove Cafe. I want to go and meet the characters, and I want to enjoy all of the Disney magic. I don't want to have to step off the ship to, you know, have some other great experience. I mean, we definitely did some excursions while on this sailing, but once that excursion is over, I want to get back on the ship. I don't want to stay out in the port. And so that means spending a lot more time on the ship and very little time in the port for me as a Disney cruiser. And I want to go to dinner every night. I want to enjoy the shows that come with dinner. I want to get all of my money's worth on Disney because let's face it, Disney cruises aren't cheap. You know, Disney is a premium. And by comparison, we could have done a similar sailing for probably a quarter of the price and probably still have had a beverage package included with that and had a great time spending more time in the ports and less time on the ship. Now, I know someone is probably going to say, well, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you still spend more time out in the ports? Because you definitely could have done that, right? This sailing had 2 overnights. And so we could have gone out and stayed overnight in the city and returned the next day. And yes, you're right, we could have done that. But for me, that's just not what a Disney cruise is about. A Disney cruise isn't a means of transportation from port to port for me. A Disney cruise is where you spend all your time and you enjoy all the magic and you explore the ship and you stay within that bubble. So, you know, if this would have been with another cruise line, I would have had no problem getting off the ship and staying off the ship and missing dinner because every other cruise line to me is nothing more than a cheap mode of transportation to get from port to port and explore new cities and destinations. And Disney just is a lot more to me than just that. So while we absolutely love sailing with Disney, for those of you watching who are living in the US and travel similar to us or want a vacation like we do, I would not necessarily recommend a Disney cruise outside of the US for you. And that's really because when we cruise to a new place, the value for me is in the destination and less about what's happening on the ship. And a great example of this would be when we did our Med cruise last year. This was our 3rd group cruise. We did 11 days on the Norwegian Epic. It's a really poorly rated ship, but we had a really great time and we didn't spend a lot of time on the ship. We didn't really care about that because we had so much awesome time in such amazing ports of call. Who is this cruise for? And in my opinion, it's going to be for the residents of the UK, Ireland, you know, or in Europe. Those who are finding it kind of challenging to get to the US to visit Disney World or even to Disneyland Paris on a regular basis, you know? When Disney's over there in Europe, you don't have that huge expense of flights. So it's a lot easier to get that Disney magic, be, you know, into that Disney bubble and really enjoy everything that Disney has to offer for a much cheaper price. And again, it's a great ship. We would 100% sail on the Dream again, especially if somebody wants to bring us along to do a wedding. Just saying. But, you know, we love Disney Cruise Line. I know somebody's going to be like, why are you ripping on Disney? It always happens. And I just want to make sure that, like, that's not what I'm doing. You know, it's just, everybody is a little bit different. I find it really funny when we do reviews like this. People say that they love reviews like this, but a review is our opinion and it's our experience. And so your experience is going to be different. And I know some of the people that we met with and talked to on the Dream will probably, I think they're going to agree that for them, it's a really great offer, but it's just, everybody's a little bit different. And so when you're weighing out money or experience and what you want out of a vacation, you have to look at what you want to get out of that. And you really shouldn't let somebody like me dictate what you're going to do. So just throwing that out there. We had an awesome time on the Disney Dream, and I think if you go on it and don't have a good time, I think you're just looking for reasons to just not, like, make it fun. You know, it is fun, it's Disney, you know, enjoy it. Let loose. Forget about the rest of the world and just be a kid again and have a great time. And unwind, right? That's what it's there for. So, with that being said, we can't wait to be back on our next Disney cruise, and while we don't currently have one booked in the near future, I'm sure we will find some time to sneak another Disney cruise in very soon. So, we hope you guys enjoyed this review from the Disney Dream and hope to see you all in the next one.